Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your most inconsistent YouTuber, Tash here. I haven't posted in about a year or so, no, less than a year, but it's coming up to a year. I think I posted last June. So I wanted to do a get ready with me, and I was going to recreate this look I posted on Instagram with the Frozen Kiss palette by Gourmand Girls. I will show you that palette in a minute. It's beautiful. So I am going to do a basic get ready with me to tell you where I've been, what's been happening, if you're interested in any of that. And if you're only here for the makeup, I am going to tell you what products I'm using, but I'm not going to go into a full detail or full review. If you would like to see a review of any of these products, then please let me know. I'm more than likely to feature them on my channel, as hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get back to filming again, because filming is makeup is a really big hobby of mine, filming is a big hobby of mine, so it's really nice to get back. I'm a bit nervous, I'm probably really out of practice, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyway. So I've already prepped my skin, and so I'm going to go in with a primer, and the primer that I'm using today is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I've got the e.l.f. the gripping primer, and that's supposed to be a dupe of this, and I've never, I've used this once, and I can see why people believe they're a dupe. I would really need to use them side by side for review purposes to see if they're exactly the same, but to be honest, I do feel like they perform the same. So I'm just going to start at the centre. So I've got combination skin, and my skin is quite dry at the moment because we're in the colder months, although we've headed into spring now, so it is warming up a bit. But just so you know, I've got combo skin, it's quite dry now, so I tend to use gripping primers more in the summer, the warmer month. It's not going to harm to test it out. And what I usually do with gripping primers is I tend to leave them for about 5 minutes. I don't know if you can hear that or see that, but let some of that stickiness go down. Right, so while that's drying, I'm going to put my headband on. So how have you guys been? I hope you've all been really well. My life has basically been a non-stop disaster since COVID. Not because of COVID, but just the things that have happened around that time. It's hard to know where to start, so I'll probably just start from the beginning. In 2020 or 2021, we were threatened with homelessness for about 2 years before we moved. And that was really hard for us. It was nothing we did or anything like that to the property. In fact, we'd improved the property. The landlords wanted to raise the rent by like £300 a month, and we just couldn't afford it. They did something called a Section 21, which is a no-fault eviction. So it means you haven't done anything wrong, but they can get their premises back, etc., etc. So we were threatened with homelessness, and we were noticing that the rents were so extortionate across Birmingham and the West Midlands and across the country, to be honest. We need like rent controls because rent is such a problem at the moment for people. And we just couldn't afford anywhere to go, so we were really struggling. We put ourselves on the council list, not really thinking we would get anywhere because we've heard so many horror stories. We got ourselves a solicitor, and we also worked with the crisis team, and I'd like to give a really big thanks to the crisis team because they're the people that got us involved with the solicitor. This is probably okay to go now. The next product I'm using is the Maybelline Lumi Matte Foundation, and this is in the shade, I think it's in 90. It's slightly too light for my face, shall we say, but it matches the rest of my neck and body. I'm just going to pop this in the back of my hand. It's quite like a liquidy consistency. Can you see that? It's like dripping down my hand. So yeah, we worked with the crisis team. They were really helpful. They got us on the council list, and it was getting really desperate by the end of the 2 years. The landlords wanted us out. We were going to get sent to court and be evicted. It was both really scary for me and my partner Sam, and it was a really hard time. And then in the midst of all that, Sam's dad sadly got really ill and passed away tragically. Well, because we'd lost Sam's dad, and also a lot of logistics became involved, but I'm not going to get into that, like with things like selling the house and stuff like that. So much pressure at that time, so I wasn't really uploading or anything because I just wasn't in the mindset. Like, I don't really want to upload when I'm going through that kind of thing because I would just be a crying mess. I feel like I can tell this story now, and I can feel like I can detach myself from it, and that's how I deal with any traumatic event that's happened in my life. Really, is I have to wait and then detach myself from it as if it didn't happen to me, and then I can kind of talk about it, which might sound weird, but if you feel like I'm not really that emotional, it's not because I wasn't at the time, it's just that I can't tell this story without repressing my emotions, so I'll just be a mess. Towards the end of the 2 years, our solicitor was really good. The council messed up a lot of things, which is a whole other story. So we did it, obviously, as you can see, we did get a house. We got a house basically a week and a day before they were going to put us into temporary accommodation. In fact, the day we moved here was the day they phoned us and told us they'd found us temporary accommodation. And one of the temporary accommodations they were going to put us in was a hotel. Now, people think that like people get sent to glamorous hotels. I feel like that's not the experience we had. Not that we were expecting to go to a glamorous hotel, but we weren't expecting to go to a hotel where they had a big cockroach infestation, and they had all these children and these parents just waiting out in the foyer, and they couldn't go back to their rooms for like 5 to 8 hours on a Tuesday because they had to wait for the spray to die down and everything for the cockroach infestation. Luckily we didn't have to go there, but I just felt awful for anybody that had to stay there, to be honest. I know you can go, well, it's better than being on the streets. It's like, well, I don't think anyone deserves to live somewhere or have to stay somewhere temporarily where it's, you know, below good levels of hygiene and cockroach infestations and all sorts of nasty things like that. So side note, this foundation is going on beautifully. I've used this a few times now and I love it. It's really lightweight but full coverage, and it's supposed to be sweat proof and everything like that. Now obviously I haven't worn it for 30 hours, but I have napped in it because I'm a big sleeper and it hasn't come off. It just stays beautiful throughout the whole day. Okay, the concealer I'm using is the L'Oreal Infallible 24 Hour More Than a Concealer. Anyone who's watched me before knows that I'm really hyped over Shape Tape, like the original, because I've got some discoloration and some really dark circles, so I like to have something that covers really well, and this is really creamy. It covers really well, like it's medium to full coverage. I wouldn't say it's like super thick, but it is a thicker concealer. It's not like that serum-y consistency, but this works beautifully to cover my under eyes, just like the Tarte Shape Tape original. What I'll do is, if I forget to say there's shades or anything like that, is I'll put all the information down below and link what I can as well. I think this is in, yeah, Cool 320 Rose. So we finally got the house. The day we moved in, we were really happy. It had to get redecorated. It's the kind of thing where you have to put your own flooring in and redecorate. And this house that we're in now, not that I want to shame anybody, but it just wasn't our style. It was quite heavily smoked in, so all the walls were quite yellow and you know, that's not really my aesthetic. And also it had like leopard faces all over the walls in the bedroom, and the living room was all wallpapered, like really old school wallpaper. It just felt like it needed updating. We basically just painted it white and put flooring down, but it just looks really clean and tidy now, and obviously smells a lot better after the heavy smoke scent is gone. And again, that's not to shame anyone that smokes indoors or anything, but like I'm, as a non-smoker, it's just not something that I really want in my house. So we did all that, we redecorated, we were really happy, and we thought that was the end of it, and I started filming again in last year, 2024. This is the lavender powder by Tarte. It's the creaseless powder, I think it's called. I do put quite a bit on and then just wipe off the excess, because I find that it really smooths under my eyes, and also it helps with fallout with my eyeshadows as well. We're just gonna brush, dust that off. I'm not going to set the rest of my face because I feel like it's quite dry at the moment, and it doesn't really need it. But in this like warmer summer months, that's definitely something that I would be doing. So yeah, let me bronze up my face while I tell you the next bit. So yeah, everything's been going like, I don't know what that noise is. If you can hear a noise, I think that's our boiler coming on. So yeah, everything was going well. I was posting in 2024. We were here for a year. Got settled down, obviously redecorated, got all our furniture in, and then the damp appeared. What was going on was we were starting to smell like, the house was starting to smell musty, and we just couldn't figure out why. And there weren't obvious like clues at the beginning as to why it was smelling so musty. It just was like every time we walked in we were like, this smells a bit musty. And it had been raining quite heavily that summer, and it turns out that basically there was a gap between our house and our slabs were also facing towards our house, so the water was pouring down the slabs and going into the gap between our house and going under our floor, and basically from the floor up eventually everything just became damp and mouldy. So unfortunately I stopped filming because I lost all my furniture, lost my desk, lost some of my makeup, lost our bed, lost our sofa, lost our coffee table, lost a lot. Basically we had no furniture left because everything was just infected by damp and mould. And once you get mould on one thing, like some things you can clean, but when it gets into wooden things, it's really hard to remove it and keep it removed. So we just sat here, no sofa, no bed. We managed to get a sofa from IKEA with our family's help, like really quickly, and I ended up sleeping on that because I've got like a bad back and other kind of health issues, so like I couldn't be sleeping on the floor or anything. So we did that for a while, and like Sam slept on the mattress in the bedroom, so that was a fun time. And basically we had to restart again. We had to rip the flooring out, we had to put new flooring down, We had to put new furniture in, and obviously like that's expensive, but we are really fortunate to have family that can help us out, and that's what they did. Where they could, they helped us out with certain things like the bed. My mum bought me a coffee table, and it was just really sweet of them, really helped us out. It took me a long time to get my whole setup back together. In fact, it took me like until now to get my setup back together. And that's basically what's been happening where we've been. It's just been like a consistent nightmare. This brush is really hard to open. I'm probably going to jab it. This is a Doll Beauty Pretty Fly powder. It's a blush, and it's in Viva La Vacay. It's a really nice kind of peachy blush. So yeah, that's basically been our last 4 to 5 years. It's just constant chaos and disaster, one bit after another, and that's just the way it works sometimes, life. But that's not to say that it isn't hard at the time, and you know, that's why I wasn't really picking up the camera at times. I wasn't going to film when we're mourning over a lost parent or a family member, and I'm not going to film when I'm feeling like so vulnerable that I'm going to probably say stupid stuff on the camera, you know. Highlighter I'm using today is like a white to green highlighter. It's from About Face. I don't know if I think you can get About Face on Beauty Bay. I'm not sure about these highlighters though, but this is what it looks like. It has like I don't know if you can see from there, but it has like a green shift to it. Very from space, which is something I love. I'm still kind of from that 2016 to 18 era. I started YouTube in 2014 when I was like 28. Yes, I know I'm still like less than micro YouTuber, but that's because I've never been consistent. There's always been things going on, whether it be my mental health, whether it be job losses, whether it be too busy, whether it be disasters. Like, I have all the excuses in the world, unfortunately. But yeah, check out this highlighter. Isn't it beautiful? Stunning. This is a hobby. It's not like my job or anything. I wouldn't mind if it was my job. If I was being paid to do something I loved, I'd love that, but I know all the pressure that comes with it. I think I'd be one of those micro YouTubers like whereas if I could make rent and buy makeup, my life would be everything. I don't need to be rich or anything like that, you know, just comfortable. I think if you were comfortable in life, I think things could be a lot better. I know money can't buy happiness or anything. Money certainly helps with a lot of things, not your mental health, but you know, there are other things it can help with. Right, I'm going to zoom you guys in so you can see what I'm doing with my eyes. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Gourmand Girls Frozen Kiss palette. This is their holiday palette, but I actually got it this year. I'm so happy that I did. It is... I'm holding it really awkwardly. There we go. It is beautiful. It's got so many beautiful like little kind of multi-chrome shades and these like marbled shades in there. I basically just used 2 shades from this palette. This green one right here, and then this green, like this kind of marbledy shade that has like a hint of gold, a hint of pink and a hint of green in it. So I've currently lost my Singe, one of my Singe brushes that I was going to use for this, so I'm actually going to use the Zoeva 232 Luxe Crease Shader. Green shade all over my lid. This is called Evergreen, no, Wintergreen. It's called Wintergreen, and it's a really pretty shade. And it goes really well with this lipstick that I used in the photo, which I'll get to in a bit. So touch wood, we're doing okay now. Sam started roller derby, like the skating sport. That's really crazy. But Sam really enjoys it. I'm hoping to film more videos for YouTube, get back into that groove, because I was really into it. It's like my hobby, and when basically our life, you know, but life can be a prick sometimes, and unfortunately it was just our time to go through some really shitty stuff, I guess. These shimmers in this palette are quite flaky, so you will get fallout, which is why I've powdered quite heavily under my eyes, but the powder never looks heavy. It's a really beautiful powder if you ask me, and I'm 40 years old, so I have like eye creases, but I haven't got like super fine lines yet. It's probably because I'm a vampire who keeps out of the sun forever, but I'm just going to use my Singe EO2 and I'm going to go under my eyes. And then I'm going to start going around my crease with no more product on the brush, just whatever's left on there, and I'm just going to start blending that out. So I hope you guys have had a better, more positive time than we have. I'd like to hear what's going on in your lives, what have you been up to, like, I hope it's all been positive for you, and if it hasn't, then I'm truly sorry. Like, I super feel for you, because I know what that's like to go through. I think we probably all do to some extent. I'm going to be using like a flaky shade, so I want to use my NYX glitter glue to like get it to stick down and also to protect me from as much fallout as possible. I'm just going to be using the EO1 from Singe. It's like a completely flat brush. And I'm just going to pop a little bit of NYX glue on there, about that much. Maybe that much is too much. But we're just going to put that at the front of our eye, and I'm just using patting motions so I don't disturb the eyeshadow underneath. Someone's doing garden work, I can hear it, but I really hope you guys can't. So yeah, I've got a few things planned for the channel, like video wise. I was going to leave declutters until the end of the year, which I think I still am, but I am going to do a base declutter because I've got so many setting sprays, concealers, foundations, etc. that just, they need to go. Like, some of them are really old. I haven't got a chance to go through them because I wasn't really wearing like as much makeup as I normally do these last few years. Sometimes I was just wearing nothing for weeks. So I'm going to go into the shade Ice Crystals, this one right here, and where I put that glitter glue down, I'm just going to put that on the front half of my lid. But it is as you can see on the brush, it's like a flakier shade, but it is beautiful, and it is kind of green to gold to pink. It reminds me a lot of Wicked. I'm not sure how much of the pink you'll see on the eyes, but it's just a really beautiful shimmer. And I love the Gorman Girls formula. I've got a few of their palettes now, and I just think they perform beautifully. And I'm just tapping into that glitter glue so I get as little fallout as possible. And then I'll go and slightly spread it across the rest of the lid. Okay, we're also going to put this down on the bottom lash line towards the inner corner. See, on the bottom lash line, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but I can see more pink to gold, depending where the light hits, of course. But looking in this mirror, I can see more pink to gold. So yeah, I'm planning foundation declutter. I've got some palettes coming from Monolith Shop. If you haven't heard of Monolith Shop and you're an indie palette lover, but you either don't want to pay the fees from America or you find it really expensive, then Monolith Shop EU is the place that I go to get all my indie palettes. This is where the Frozen Kiss palette came from, some of my Blend Bunny palettes, although you can get those on Glisten Cosmetics as well. Glisten Cosmetics is a UK company. Okay, so I think that looks so pretty. It's a really simple look to do, but I am going to be wearing quite a bold lip. I have got lip balm on, but my lips are dry as anything. They always are because I bite them. I'm a nervous lip biter, and it's constant as well. So I'm just going to use some eyeliner. I used like a kind of teal eyeliner. This is actually quite old. It's from Game of Thrones, but it still works really well. So probably shouldn't use it, but I'm going to. And I'm just going to line my waterline. I've got the Harvest of Souls palette on the way from Monolith Shop, and it's a Fantasy Cosmetica palette, and it's the first palette that I'll be trying from them, and I've heard so many good things about them, and I'm really particularly excited about this one because I have been lusting after it since it came out, but either I could never afford it or it was never in stock. Story of my life. So I finally managed to get it. I know that it's probably like an irrelevant palette right now and nobody cares about it, but even if one person watches my video, like, this is a hobby for me. Like I said, it's not my job, so I'm just going to upload videos that I also would selfishly want to watch as well, and I definitely want to play with that palette. Okay, so I've lined my eyes. I'm just going to add some mascara, and the mascara that I'm using at the moment is the L'Oreal Panoramic. I love this stuff. It's so good. I feel like it really volumizes, it really lifts and lengthens my lashes. For some reason, I think it's just me, not the mascara, but I tend to get it everywhere sometimes. So I realised I forgot to add, I've done my brows, I did my brows before the rest of my makeup, but I forgot to add this Thick It Stick It thickening brow mascara, and I know this has been out for quite a long while now, but this is a newer product to me, and I can't believe I went on without this in my life, to be honest. This is in the shade Espresso, which in the NYX line of brow pencils is usually a little bit too warm for me, but it's actually a good shade in this. And you can do like a really fluffy brow with it. It colours your brows in, it gives your brows like a little bit of colour and definition, and kind of thickens the brow hairs. You can get that really fluffy brow look if that's something you really like, which I do every now and then. I really like this product. I prefer it to Benefit's Gimme Brow, and I also prefer it to the e.l.f. Brow Wow, because this actually gives more colour and thickness to my brows. Right, it's time for lipstick now, and this is a Fantasy Cosmetic product I got, and this is in the shade Overgrown, but it actually says on the bottom Forgotten. And I remember when I ordered this off of Monolith, I ordered the shade Forgotten thinking I was getting a blue lipstick, and then it said Forgotten, and it was like a kind of, I'll show you, like it's a dingy olive green. And I was a bit surprised, but actually I'm really happy because this kind of green is really stunning. This is a beautiful lipstick. It's creamy, it's really comfortable. I think the shade is really unique. Okay, so this is the final look. I love it. So I love how pretty the eyes are. Like, this palette is so wintry, and even though I use the greens, it still feels quite wintry to me. So far, what I've used in here, I have done another look with this palette. You can see it on my Instagram if you want to follow me on my Instagram. But so far, I've been really impressed with how this has performed. I love my Goblin Girls palettes. I think I didn't mention, but this lipstick is from the Lost Library collection. Can we talk about the packaging? I think I've got it upside down right now, but it's stunning. If you've got any ideas for videos you'd like to see me do, then please let me know, and if I can do them, I will. It's been great to talk to you guys, great to catch up. I hope, like I said, I hope you're all doing well, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Hopefully that won't be in a year's time.